How do you cope with being a loser in your mid-30s? I made some bad career decisions in my 20s, duck science, and I am now stuck in a dead-end field. I live in a place where I have no friends. I never had any romantic success either. So all in all, life isn't that great at the moment. Therefore, I cannot shake the feeling that I have wasted my life and that I am a huge failure socially, romantically, and professionally. How can I cope with this feeling? How can I feel better about myself and move on? Men who turned your life around in your 30s, how did you manage it? Edit, this is how I feel at the moment. Well, my current plan is to blame the pandemic until I turn 40. I'm 22, just graduated college and can't find a job. My mom said, pandemic or not, I need to find one. She's on to me. I have friends who graduated last year, were working part-time at a major theme park that's been closed due to COVID since March, and they're still unemployed sitting at home all day. And they're depressed as can be. Even if it's not a dream job or a job that utilizes your degree, having a job that gives you a reason to leave the home is essential for your mental health. Exactly, I don't hang out with my outside of work friends in person that often anymore, so the only time I get to hang out with people is at work, and I started talking more and making friends with my co-workers, and it's been a huge boost to my mental health. Went back to school and got a degree in what I wanted to do. Got divorced. Moved. Starting living my life on my terms instead of always putting other people first. I actually got the degree I wanted to. This is the whole problem. My idealism in my 20s screwed me in my 30s. I have had a few friends in this boat. I just want to tell people on this thread, nobody else is looking at you as critically as you're looking at yourself. You can end up in a place you don't like, where you're not happy and you're not fulfilled, without that making you a loser. Your circumstances aren't a reflection of your character, even though they feel that way. Life's a game you can't lose it until you quit playing, and you get to make up the win criteria. No one else can do that for you. I'm only 20, but I really needed to hear this. It's mentally taxing feeling so ashamed of where I'm at in life that I feel compelled to lie about situation to everyone but my closest friends and family. It's genuinely my greatest shame, and I fear what my peers will think of me if they were to ever find out. It's controlled my life for years now, and the pandemic came right when I was finally making strides and getting back on path. I can't say your words will give me the courage to be more open about my circumstances, but they mean a great deal. Thank you, stranger on the internet. That sounds really hard, and it sounds like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. If your peers are more interested in what you do than who you are, then you shouldn't put too much emphasis on their opinion. Once I had this mentality, my friendship circle was decimated. Once I stopped reaching out, only my closest friends who I grew up with reached out first. Everyone is gonna have an opinion, and it took me decades to realize that the less I give a shit about what people think, the happier I am. In my early 20s I got kicked out of university. Twice. I was asked to never return. I ended up being a pizza delivery driver, and sometimes working in the laundry room at long-term care. But I took a night class, because I wasn't done yet. I did pretty well. Then I registered for college. I'm in Canada, so maybe closer to community college. I did pretty well again. I got a crappy computer job. But I did well enough that I tried a university math class. They let me in because of my college marks. I did pretty well. With the college and university calculus class, I was able to register for an undergraduate BSc in computer science. I started in my 30s. It took a few years because I was working and taking loans, but I got through in 5 years, instead of 4. I got a better job. After 2 years, I registered and went back for my master's degree. I finished in my late 30s. I've been contracting super successfully for years now and leading teams. I'm teaching new programmers and mentoring teams as a lead now. Good advice. One discussion I've had more than a few times regarding personal and profession change is the value of just getting a tiny bit better each day. 1% or even 1/4% better each day, day after day, is huge. Life works like that too. At the time it might feel glacial, and then you look back and think, how the heck did I make it this far? P.S. Retirement savings work this way too. LPT, invest a little bit as you go, even when it seems hard. Especially if it's a tax-deferred plan like a 401k, because a lot of times your final paycheck changes minimally even though you're putting money away, due to tax calculations. I think it was Warren Buffett who said that compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. Applies to life as much as finance. Some are either driven or lucky enough to survive their 20s unscathed and just continue on with adulthood. But for many of us, the mistakes of our 20s make our 30s a reckoning. Like Bowie, crossroads are a chance to transform ourselves into something better. But as most of us aren't superstars, it's hard to know what to do and how to pick up the pieces in order to turn ourselves into a more mature, capable, connected version of our former selves. I know this from painful personal experience. I flunked out of college for being stupid enough to join a fraternity, knowing full well how easily distracted I am. I couldn't hold down a shitty job because, well, they were all shitty. Fortunately, I had passed enough college classes before driving my academic career off a cliff, and was likable enough to do well at an interview for a job that was not hard labor, nor fast food, nor retail, for a decent, but not extravagant salary. It really helped me get my shit together to work in a normal office environment. From there I felt more optimistic, which made me a bit more bearable to be around, so I made some good friends and met my future so. I headed into my 40s in much better shape than when I crashed into my 30s. I'm not saying a job is the answer. But there are circumstances of some sort, job, school, self-improvement, volunteering, entrepreneurial out there somewhere that are right for your temperament, that won't slowly crush your soul, that will lead you to be more connected with people and more proud of yourself. Finding it is the tough part. Not meaning to get spiritual, but I've known many people whose situation found them as opposed to them having to find it. So stay open to possibilities. Best for now to keep an optimistic outlook and resolve to be the best you that you can be every day, regardless of your circumstances. I think what you're getting at is a not shitty job, even if it's not glamorous or particularly well paid, gives you the stability to figure out what your next steps are. I also had a job like that. It wasn't great, but the stability, routine, and free time gave me the chance to figure out how to get where I wanted to go. If I was working all the time, unable to pay bills, no free time, stressed about what I was doing in the moment, I would not be able to do that level of introspection. Those kind of jobs in transition periods are big benefits. I think when people weigh jobs they sometimes overvalue things like pay when they're in a transition period. You need time to work on yourself as well. I want to offer something different from these other comments. A couple of years back, I was prescribed antidepressants, mainly cause my sleep was shitty. Then, about a year ago, I had a breakup. It sucked ass. After 2 to 3 weeks of feeling miserable, I decided to self-boost the dose by 50%. Within 48 hours I felt fine. In the next 8 months I built a shitty 2-man business into a more substantial middle-sized business. In December, I decided to go off the meds. Suddenly, the magic was gone, I was cold, and though I'd built some positive momentum, I wasn't able to maintain it, and even though business is better, I'm back in loser mode. Needless to say, I'm restarting the meds. All I mean to say is, I never thought there was anything wrong with me until I stopped the meds and noticed the difference, and sometimes help can come from external sources. Also, for anyone asking, the drug is mirtazapine. Meds have worked wonders for me too. But just wondering, did you taper off the dose slowly enough? 1 month tapering might not be enough time to go off meds you've been taking for 2 years, you gotta land that plane super slowly, my dude.